you so much for staying with us, everyone. It does look like a lot of Nigerians are very concerned with age this time around when we are talking politics. Well, I do know that President Muhammadu Buhari was born on the 17th of December 1942. That makes him 76 years. So some viewers are already. So I pulled those from their own profile that they submitted to INEC. That's where I pulled those facts from. So that is what is there as at when they submitted those facts to INEC. Where I know that Atiku Abubakar was also born in November 25. But then he's also 72. Well, those are the updates that we have for you. And some people were saying, Abga, where did you leave them? Are they not part of the outsiders? Don't they have a candidate? Yes, they have a candidate. It's based on what you are saying as voter. But where we will say, Abga is also another one that we'll put into permutations. But that's for another day, everyone. Let's get back to the conversation of tonight. I have my partner tonight on the program, Reverend Yomi Kasali, is the founder of the Foundation of Truth Assembly, and is also the Southwest coordinator of the Professor Osinbajo campaign. Thank you so much for coming on tonight.
Thank you, Shimon. Thank you for having me. I love watching your program. Do you know something I do every night? If I go to bed very late, I watch your YouTube channels on channel.
Thank you so much.
Very good. You're doing a good job.
You're one of those who make us to put them on YouTube as a must before we go home. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming. Yeah. And I will be talking to Osita Chidoka, who is in our Abuja studio. He's one of the spokespersons of the PDP. He's in Abuja studio. I'll be going to him in a short while. Thank you so much, Mr. Chidoka, for coming on. Let me quickly come to you, Reverend Kasali.
Yes.
It does look like every year, from some of the analyses we've made, there was a sharp divide in the voting pattern in 2015, where we saw Goodluck Jonathan won most parts of the South, and we saw Muhammadu Buhari won most parts of the North. It does look like in our politics, the issues of religion and ethnicity play a lot of role, and that has been a very major debate in the church. You are a pastor of a church in Lagos. So a lot of people do not support who you support. Yeah,
it's unfortunate, very unfortunate that the church is very actively involved in partisan politics. We shouldn't be.
Really?
Absolutely, we shouldn't be. Church as an entity should not be actively involved in partisan politics. Christians in church should be. Christians in church can be. But no church as an organization, as a body, should support a party. Just like a brand. Like, imagine if a church supports MTN against Airtel, Zenith against GTB. Imagine if somebody in these channels right now, for instance, one of the brightest and the finest broadcasters I've seen in recent times, Ladi and Ejoma. Imagine if they support a party and they make that vocal, make that known while they're doing the broadcasting. That would be found as unethical, very wrong. And for churches and pastors who go to their pulpit and begin to voice out things that are very blasphemous, saying we support this person, anybody that supports that person should go to hell, or we go to hell. Sometimes I found out some are very, very heartbreaking and unethical and, of course, blasphemous. However, as a Christian, you would never hear me in my church when I preach, and I preach every now and then, say something concerning a particular candidate on the pulpit, because I would not use that pulpit for that purpose. The pulpit should not become a campaign podium. I'm very actively involved when it comes to politics at that other level, but not using the pulpit in church to propagate or have a campaign for a party.
Because a lot of people within that had this debate had said, look, for a long time, either in a mosque or the traditional setting or in the church, the leaders in that arena have run away from politics for too long. And that's why they've left those who have done bad
No, that's not true. What had happened before now is that the church in whole had actually abandoned politics. They won't tell the members and the congregants to ignore it because they say it's a dirty game. Don't go, don't be involved in it. But now what we say is members should go out and be actively involved in politics without that entity, that church, be it a big one like Catholic, like Baptist, like Methodist. By the way, it's only Pentecostals where I belong to that are a bit have that recklessness and that rascality. We are the ones that go a bit too far, trying to support a particular candidate. And we know that that started from the last administration. Because before to that one, Yaradua's time, OBJ's time, if OBJ said, can my foot, they didn't drag the church into politics. It was the PDP of President Jonathan that dragged the church into politics deeply. And I felt that was very bad. In the days of Awolowo, and you gave this to us, they were not even involved at all. It was religion, not religion. How was a Christian? Some of his finest governors were Muslims. We didn't even know. We didn't even know that. But today, it's no more religion or ethnicity. It's now religion has played a bigger role, and is dividing this nation.
So when you see that your members, you are a leader in the church, you see some of your members who are going astray.
When you say
as politically speaking, if they're going to make a choice, because as a leader, you're also answerable to those who are following you.
I will never, ever impose my political preference on my members from the pulpit. Never. It's wrong. They follow me as a moral leader, not a political leader. Church is supposed to breed morality in the nation. Morality. There are business leaders, there are academic leaders, there are moral leaders, there are politicians. Church is supposed to breed morals. But the reason you follow me is my moral character, not my financial base. So I can be a poor person, yet I have character. And that's the problem with the country today. We have a lot of moral decadence because the church and the mosque have abandoned morals, teaching money, teaching mammon, trying to say people should have money. And that's why we follow those that have money, not morals. I am a man that believes that character counts more than charisma. And if you ask me why I love Imo Shibajo, he's a man I love so very much. I know him. He's a man of character, credibility, and integrity. And that's why I would any day, anytime, anywhere, without going to the pulpit to do anything outside my particular vocation and profession as a pastor. I'm not supposed to use the pulpit as a key issue. Don't use the pulpit to campaign like my colleague in Abuja said, and
some of your colleagues and some perhaps some of those who are senior to you in the religious practice had criticized this government, and on those terms which they criticize the government, you disagree with them?
Absolutely.
Because some of them have said that this government has failed.
Where? How? I can tell you how this government has succeeded. I can tell you that number one, which has to do with empathy for the poor. You know, Mahatma Gandhi said something. That great nations are measured by how they treat their weakest and their feeble. Can you tell me indeed that these people have not tried with the pensions of even the same Biafra soldiers? Pensions, the weak and the feeble, the old, the women, the girls. These governments have been closely helping those that are poorest of the poor. Secondly, of course, which is very important for me, infrastructure. They've tried their best and their best with respect to helping to develop an infrastructure network in this country. That's the second one. Of course, the reason why I would any day, any time support this government also is character. I keep pushing character. And fourthly, anti-corruption. People will tell me in my church, and around tables when I have lunch, I have dinner with people, I tell them the elephant in the room is corruption. Somebody said that I would rather vote for a thief than vote for a murderer. I laughed because if I steal your resources, then I'm killing more of the people. One, roads that are not done, accidents. Two, infant mortality in the hospitals. Corruption is killing more people,
Well, I mean, Reverend Kasali, perhaps a reason why you're speaking passionately against some of your colleagues who are not in support of the candidates you support is because they're not in support of it. Perhaps if tables are turned and some of these guys are supporting Buhari and Oshibajo, maybe you wouldn't have an issue. No,
I will still have an issue with you using the pulpit to campaign for Buhari and Oshibajo. I will. Any pastor that does that is doing what is unethical. Don't forget, my grouse is not you shouldn't support your candidate. My grouse is don't use the pulpit. Like Ladi Akedola will not use channels to push his agenda. It's wrong. It's unethical. You'll be banned by NBC. It's wrong.
Do you think that Buhari and Oshibajo can win this election?
They will win the election. I'm almost certain they will win this election. They're going to win it.
I know the reason why. I know you'll be truthful to me, and because you know, I don't think you will lie, no matter what platform is it, either on TV or on the pulpit or in the room. I know you will not lie. Do you think in your mind, as we speak right now, that these guys can win this election?
I strongly believe they will win this election. I'm very certain about that. The people indeed want corruption out of their government. I would never support a man that I'm not too sure will steal my resources. Two, they've done well. Three, they're loved by the people.
Okay.
They're the people's candidate.
All right. There are a lot of places where people, when they campaign for a better life, you see that prevailing over people who are seeking to retain office. This time around, you think there might be a difference in Nigeria?
Come again? With respect to what?
Last time,
yes,
the Oshibajo and Buhari team campaigned for change.
Yes.
And the people changed the government.
Yes.
So this time around, we see a PDP campaign for better life for Nigerians.
Yes.
If you look at where those kind of narratives have been played around the world in modern democracy, those who campaign in such narrative always win.
Well, I guess depends on which Nigerians they want a better life for. That's my view. I'm very confident, and again, I'm not here to perhaps castigate the other person, but he has said it himself that I will enrich my friends. In other words, I guarantee better life for my friends. I mean, which is very clear. I am not honestly convinced that the other party will have socialist manifesto, but more capitalist. In other words, I truly believe, and I may be wrong, and I do hope I'm wrong, that the people that will benefit more if the other party wins will be their friends, their cronies, and probably those in high places are mighty. I doubt if those at the bottom of the pyramid will have the impact, the positive economic impact of the government.
So, I mean, and I'll ask you again on this matter, a lot of Nigerians hold dearly is the issues of appointment and what perhaps some people perceive as not being fair to other regions of the country in terms of appointment. That perception, do you think that some Nigerians who are going to vote will be kind to put their votes to someone who they think is not fair to other regions of the country?
Actually, it was, I think, Himmler, one of those guys, Goebbels, I beg your pardon, that said that if you tell a lie for too long, he told Hitler, Adolf Hitler, if you tell a lie for too long, it becomes the truth. Unfortunately, many Nigerians do not actually sit back. And I like what you did, Shehu, a few minutes ago, when you took us to that dashboard. Many Nigerians do not sit back to really review and analyze appointments. I feel if you look at the federal cabinet as it's presently constituted, we have more Christians as it is presently constituted.
You know, it's constitutional.
Now
what about those? Because it's constitutional to have the spread across the.
Yes.
What about those appointments that you're not mandated? For example, security.
Let me tell you that. For instance, for me, if I was supposed to be the president, I'm very unhappy with it. Looks a bit lopsided. And we must be truthful to ourselves. We must be fair and be honest. It looks actually lopsided, and I agree with a few people that brought that particular point to my table. I said, yeah, I've looked at it. What's happening here? How come it looks like these people are formed enough? Fine. A few times as well, I've asked, how come those handling the economy are from the South? Have you ever taken time to ask yourself that question before Kennedy Oshun was resigned? Did you observe that key appointments also with regards to economy were from the South? I don't know if you observe that. So it depends on how you want to strike that balance.
All right, because another issue, Reverend Kasali, is some of the Christians who said, and I want to know how you respond to that, who said the government has not been fair by not securing the release of Leah Sharibu, the little Christian girl.
I feel very pained that we play politics with very serious issues. I feel pained that our fathers and our Christian folk use Leah Sharibu's life to try to win votes. It's quite unfortunate because under Jonathan's administration, Christian girls, 297 were abducted for 2 years plus. Not one bishop spoke against it. Rather, what they said was, oh, Boko Haram, they want to destabilize Jonathan's government. Excuse me? Excuse me? Now, this man came in, released about 120 Christian girls, Christians, but the Christians. And we're not celebrating those released. We're making big issue out of one that is left. And so, oh, wait a minute, they hate us. Look at Leah Sharibu. Hello? Are you disrespecting the 100 and something released? That's quite disrespectful. I do not think this government will sit back.
But what about the soul that is not yet found?
I'm coming. I don't think this government will sit back and say, give me 190 something Christians, then give me all the Muslims, and keep one, Boko Haram. Do you really think in your heart, Shehu, that President Buhari and Oshibajo will really agree with terrorists? Keep that one, don't bring him out, Do you think that's possible?
All right.
We're playing politics with lives of people, and it's not fair.
I understand now, our engineers are telling us that we're good with the audio from Mr. Chidoka. So, sorry, that was an obstruction of, if you can start again, because I know for the larger part of what you wanted to say was cut off because we're out without your audio.
All right, thank you very much. I said that you have put me in a very difficult position to discuss with a reverend gentleman. My younger brother is a Pentecostal bishop. My uncle is an Anglican venerable. My grandfather was an Anglican catechist, and I have great respect for the men in color. So I find it difficult to engage him in this kind of conversation. I think that whether they use the pulpit or not the pulpit, I don't think that church leaders should engage in defending government of the day or any politician publicly. I think he does great disservice to his color to come forward, to come to defend the government, because in his church, there are things that these governments have done that does not accord to the right things of his, about what he preaches every day in his church. There are things that the PDP has done that are not good to what he preaches every day in the church. I expect him to witness truth to power. He should not forget that he was in this country in 1978 during the Constitutional Conference that the government of Obasanjo convened, that the issue of Sharia first came up and the Muslims walked out on the Constitutional Conference. He should not forget that the Christian Association of Nigeria in 1993, when PDP had Abiola Kingibe ticket, came up with the idea that the Christian Association of Nigeria came out strongly to oppose a Muslim ticket. He should not forget that this country had come to a consensus about allowing power to rotate peacefully in the country. So in 1999, we had two Yoruba men, President Olusegun Obasanjo and Olufalaye contesting. The Yorubas did not vote for Obasanjo, but the rest of the country did. First, it was General Buhari that first turned against this gentleman's agreement. In 2003, despite all entreaties, he ran for president against Obasanjo and has continued to run. Now, in this election, it is now back to two Muslims, two Northerners. So the issues are a lot less divisive between Christians and Muslims. What the issue is today is that the Christians, the churches, the people who speak for Nigerians are pointing out, this is our most divisive government. This is one government that has come to power and hasn't been able to deepen the integrity of INEC, the body that he had accused 3 times of being used against him in elections. Now, 1 week, hours to the election, we have an election postponed under his watch. This is the government that refused to sign the electoral bill that will have made it mandatory for people to use their fingerprints, the biometrics that have been captured, as a means of authentication.
Mr. Chidoka, sorry, apologies that I need to butt in quickly because we need to take a break. But we will come back to you. And there are a lot of questions that I threw to Reverend Kasali, which I will bring on to you there in our Abuja studio. And we'll continue the conversation as much as time can permit us. Don't go anywhere, everyone. We'll be right back. Where you were saying that this government cannot be defended because of some of the things you perceive as ill performance or underperformance.
Yes, the government has totally underperformed. Nigerians are united in that view, that this government has delivered poverty. The government have delivered divisiveness. The government have delivered anything that you can imagine that detracts from what binds us together as a nation. Our traditional fault lines as a nation has been laid bare. So I find it amazing when Nigerians control the issue or try to change the issue of this conversation to the issue of the war against corruption. There is no war going on against corruption. In the days of PDP, corruption was fought fundamentally. We started what we call the Bureau for Public Procurement that changed the ability of ministries to inflate contracts, that brought contracts to the Federal Executive Council's approval. When we found out that the issue of money, of salaries was a problem, that there was corruption in salary payments, we introduced the IPPIS, the Integrated Payroll System, which removed all the payments from government agencies and centralized it in a government account in the central bank. When we found out that government overhead, the money we use for running government agencies, had become subject of abuse, we introduced what we call GIFMIS, a government portal system that allows the money to be kept at central bank, and agencies will now withdraw this money based on their needs and according to the budget subheads. And now when we found out that government revenue was not being fully accounted for, we introduced the TSA, which is the single treasury account, to make sure that all government revenues, that government has visibility over it. That is what the PDP did to fight corruption. These governments have decided that the war against corruption is the war against the enemies of this government. It is the war against those who support the government, the opposition party.
Okay, so because sometimes, sorry if I may butt in.
Have court orders.
All right, Mr. Chidoka, so there seems to be a confusion in the minds of a lot of Nigerians. When you say PDP and APC, a lot of the times, before you blink, if you have been out of this country on sabbatical and you come back, you discover that a lot of the folks who are in the PDP have now moved to the APC, and the folks in the APC have moved to the PDP. So there seems to be a confusion. You guys in the political elites understand that better. But the issue on the table now is the capacity of the Atiku and the Obi versus perhaps the others that are contesting, like Muhammadu Buhari and about 71 others. The question now, you say Nigerians have decided. How did you gauge this?
So I have taken it from the point of what the reverend gentleman, the pastor, has told us. And I have taken him back again to say that all that he listed doesn't amount to anything going forward. But now coming back to the Atiku Obi ticket, now we are offering Nigeria a new opportunity to get Nigeria working again. The first thing that Atiku represents for Nigeria is that we want to unify Nigeria. Nigeria is badly divided. This country needs unification once again. This country needs us to come back to see ourselves again as one nation, not one divided by the APC. So the Atiku administration is committing, if he comes to power, and Nigerians come together on the February 23rd to vote for him, that he will unify Nigeria. It is important to you notice that all over the country, people are beginning to travel again today, despite what happened last Saturday, to cast their votes against a government that has been insensitive to the plight of Nigerians. So the Atiku Obi ticket represents another opportunity for us to secure Nigerians. They will unify Nigeria, they will secure Nigeria. Nigeria has not been secured because the government has refused to come down like he has come down with his order to shoot those who snatch ballot boxes, and which he had done the same to the marauders who go to villages and burn them down under the guise of headsmen. There are no such thing as headsmen. There are criminal gangs who are operating in the country and killing innocent people. The government should have descended on them with the venom with which the president wants to defend on election people who snatch ballot boxes. And I must warn the military and the police who have been given this order that you cannot hide under law orders. When orders are unlawful, the Nuremberg trials have made it clear you will be held individually responsible for anything you've done. Section 36(8) of our Constitution made it clear that you cannot impose a penalty greater than the penalty existing at the time the offense was committed. So the penalty for snatching ballot box, for removing things in Section 118 of the Electoral Code says clearly 2 years imprisonment. So you cannot be allowed
Mr. Chidoka,
of being shot.
And let me bring to you some political mathematics. When your government, the PDP government, you were in government at the time, actually, were in power in 2015, the APC defeated your party, and you could only win in 15 states plus the FCT. Now the APC has firm control of 22 states in the country. How do you hope that your party can overcome that kind of strength on the ground?
So the religious divide, the country was divided to its fault lines in the 2015 election. It was an election between a Christian and a Muslim. It was an election between a Northerner and a Southerner. Today we have an election between two Northerners. And when President Buhari was made to contest against a fellow Northerner, Umaru Yar'Adua, he scored barely less than 6 million votes. So today he's confronted again with a northern competition. And I believe that is the way forward for Nigeria. We should allow the zones to, at least for the period we are building our national unity, to present us 2 candidates or 3, and the country will make their choice. So in this election, the divisions that made it possible, the delegitimization that felt that the North was the rightful place for power to go in 2015 does not exist today in 2015. So I believe that this election will not go the way of 2015. Secondly, the promise of a Buhari government, the promise of change that this government held out was so strong that Nigerians felt it was time we gave an opportunity for that. But looking at what will have happened after 3 years, now going to the 4th year, the country is now well cured of the illusions of grandeur that the African big man model cannot work in Nigeria. So in the election coming up, all the very credible opinion polls have made it clear that the PDP will win this election. All the international observers, all the local intelligence going around shows PDP will win this election, because the credibility of the election is what will determine its outcome, not the number of states controlled by a party. When elections become credible, there is nothing like advantage of being an incumbent, because what matters is the Nigerians casting their votes. The fact that Nigerians think that the APC government will win because they're in power is because they believe that the government has no integrity.
Mr. Chidoka, let me come back to our Lagos studio. Great. Let me come back to our Lagos studio where Reverend Kasali has been listening to you, and you heard him there. And some of the things that he said, he did believe or has a perception that this government has failed. That's the government you support. And from some of the things that he has raised, how are you confident of defending this government as a religious leader?
I would like to appreciate your sister for what he said, and the Lord will honor him. He started by saying he would not like to engage a reverend father, as it were, in such a political debate. Thank you very much for that. I believe in tolerance. I believe we can have different views and opinions, at the same time still be friends and brothers. That's what it means to be matured. And that's what I hope Nigerians will become in the coming years. However, I have some point about the 2007 comment that Buhari had 6 million votes, Yar'Adua had 24 million votes. You will recall, Osita, that one of the best presidents we ever had was Yar'Adua. He himself came out and he said the election that brought me in were flawed and hugely rigged. That's the first man that would acknowledge that his own party rigged him into election. Very sound. Very sound. That for me shows the man should be given the posthumous to say you're a good man. To go and say, wait a minute, I'm here. But guess what? They rigged me in here. Those numbers are not true. He said it, I didn't say so. Secondly, I'm coming.
Sorry, I wanted to butt.
Because 12 million votes so every time in the north.
If the vote that brought him in was
rigged, he said so, I didn't say so.
Could it also be that the vote that Buhari got at the time also was not true?
No. I'm only telling you what a man said about his own votes.
We should not believe the figures.
No, he said it about his own votes. And it's out there. It's out there. And that was the first thing he had with President Obasanjo, one man I revered and respect. He said it. I didn't know you guys would rig me in. Those votes and those numbers are not right. Why? Because international observers came and said these numbers are not correct. I didn't say so. Google it. Google it. It's there. Secondly, ballot box snatching. I'm shocked. I'm mortified. I don't understand. If somebody tells me if you steal, you go to jail. Say, why is that I'll get to jail? Why must I say, do you intend to steal? Do you intend to steal? The man says if you snatch ballot box, you will be shot at sight, which is perhaps misconstrued. You're not being angry. Obasanjo said it. 2007.
Is it right to say if someone
wait, we'll go to that because it's misconstrued. We'll go to that. That's what, if you have to go in the context of that statement, we'll get to that point. My point now is why are you that angry with a statement that has moral sanctity? That if a man in my church commits adultery, I will suspend you. Pastor, is too hard. Why suspension? Wait a minute. Do you intend to commit adultery? Why are you screaming? If a man steals China's money, I'm John Momo, we will probably discipline you and remove you. Go to a dead policeman. Why do you intend to steal our money? If you don't intend to snatch ballot boxes, why make a big issue out of a statement that you know you will win? You know you will win. You know you don't need to snatch. And he said it to his own people, not to you. Hey guys, don't go out there defending me by snatching boxes. If you do, I would wash my hands. I will hand you over to the law. They would deal with you. He said it to his own people. It wasn't a World Press Conference. It was a family meeting. The media were there. You must take those things in context. I'm telling my children, hey guys, if you guys go and misbehave out there, I will deny you. They say, my dad is a hard man. He's a dictator. Wait a minute. Do you intend to misbehave?
But was it democratic in that statement?
Of course. Because, I mean, do you intend? Of course, why not? He's a moral leader. A moral leader.
Because the perception is that it was a pronouncement.
Nelson Mandela will say the same.
It was a pronouncement of a maximum sentence.
Nelson Mandela said to the black South Africans, if you accuse and if you are hard on the whites, I will disown you. That's right. That's what a moral leader would say.
Because
Mahatma Gandhi said the same to the white British.
Kasali, the criticism is that there was a pronouncement, there was a perceived pronouncement of maximum sentence of death to on a ballot snatch.
That's not
That's
true.
the perception.
That's not true. Perceptions can be wrong. They are strong, but can be wrong. That's not true. You need to listen to the thing again. I watched it over and over again. It was meant to his own step. That's not true. We need to start changing things that people have not said. I've not said something, you're pushing it out. If you believe a lie for too long, it becomes the truth. It's called propaganda. Let's go back and watch that video over and over again. That is not what Mr. President said.
So do you think Nigerians accept this government going into these polls?
Yes.
Should this government lose this election, this APC government, how would you feel?
Me? Who wait for another 4 years? Even though I know, what do you mean? I'm a Nigerian.
No, the question is, you believe so much, you're passionate about what they're doing.
I know they will win it.
What if Nigerians
Let me tell you why. I'm a Yoruba man. I hate to bring tribe into politics, but it's very apparent. I hate much more to bring religion into it because it's not Christian, it's not ethical, it's not morally right. My passion is, may we separate church from state. Now, I know Southwest we vote Buhari because of Shibaju. Northwest we go Buhari side. Northeast we go Buhari side. North Central they will split into two. So I still don't understand which polls. We have also polls that say you are in comfortable lead of 12%. So I don't get it. Are you saying Southwest we vote Atiku? How? In Ogun State, where the VP comes from, in Lagos State, where Ashaju holds us strong, in Osun State, where we already have a bit of challenge, but we are strong there right now with Iola on our side. In Ondo State, where Akiti is the sitting governor, no gubernatorial elections, and he said he will use everything he has to make sure we win. In Ekiti State, where Fayemi, he said, I just left Minister of Mines. I am here now as governor. Where will they win? Please tell me where. Where? How? How? 2 states command 45% of the 2 regions of the entire vote in this country. Northwest, Southwest. Buhari is from Northwest. Oshibajo Southwest. I don't get it. How do you think those people will abandon theirs over some lies and propaganda that they have not performed and they've not really done well?
Right.
I find that a bit more difficult.
Reverend Kasali, I know Osita is someone who is also very empirical. Tell us, you've heard the analysis of Reverend Kasali. How, like he's asked, will your party win?
Well, I will first of all start by reminding Reverend Kasali that even in the Bible, in the Garden of Eden, God told Adam not to eat the fruit. Yes. And when he found that he ate the fruit, he said, Adam, where are you? Yes. Did you eat the fruit? He did not impose judgment upon him immediately. He gave him the right to fair hearing. So even the Almighty Father in heaven gives us the right to fair hearing. There is nothing that will make a man who is a president of a country, elected to support the Constitution, to respect the laws of the country, yes, to utter the words that life will be lost for an offense. Nothing in anywhere in the world will permit any president who believes in constitutional democracy to do that. But coming to the question of how the PDP will win, you see, what we have done in Nigeria is that he is still calculating the votes according to the 2015 paradigm, and that is where he's getting it all wrong. Now, the President Buhari is not going to get 1.9 million votes in Kano again. That is gone forever. It is not going to happen. President Atiku Abubakar is not going to score 98,000 votes in Katsina. It is not going to happen. Really? What is going to happen in 2019 is that the voting, the prospect, the configuration of voting that happened in the north will be divided. Buhari will win some, Atiku will win some, Buhari will even win more, but Atiku will do substantially better. And then from the south, from the north central down, which is the configuration that brought Obasanjo in 2003, brought Jonathan in 2011, when we get 50% of the southwest, 48% of the southwest, then we win the southeast, southwest, we win the north central, and we have 30-40% votes in the north. That candidate will always win an election. So what he's talking about is the Jonathan model, where Jonathan could not even make...
Mr. Chidoka, Reverend Kasali had told us what their own polls are saying. They say about 12%. That's what their war room and their polls are saying. What is your... I know you are in charge of your own internal workings. What are your polls saying?
Well, it is not a debate about polls that is going on now. The only poll I want to bring to public attention in Nigeria is the poll done by the NOI polling company that has been on since 2013. That poll in 2008, that poll does job approval rating for president. And when President Buhari took office, his job approval rating, national job approval rating, was at 76%. As at January 2019, he's at 36%. President Jonathan lost the election at 42%. When he was at 42%, he lost an election. This is the lowest the president has gone in the history of Nigeria, down to 36%. In the Northwest, where the president comes from, his job approval rating has come down from the high 80s, 88, 87, down to low 60s, 62, 63%. So this cannot be. The people in the Southwest and the Northwest are not immune to the market problems in Nigeria. They are not immune to the fact that it costs you 1.2 million to bring a container from Lagos to Abuja to Kanu, when you pay only $2,000 from China.
We need to go, officer. Mr. Chidoka, we need to go.
I also understand that fuel is now 145 naira against 85 naira.
I will probably take that as your final.
Nigerians who are bearing the brunt of poverty will vote for a government.
All right, I will take that as perhaps your final thoughts on the program. Reverend Kasali, we have less than 60 seconds to wrap up the program in this segment. Your thoughts about what is said, and so that we can go.
I would like to, I wouldn't like to reply, Mr. Osita, any longer. What I would like to say is that Nigerians should go out on Saturday, vote for character, not charisma. That's all. We need moral leaders to change our country. Not politicians. Not politicians. If you go all over the world, those that have indeed reformed are moral leaders. Not businessmen, not politicians, moral leaders. We lack moral leaders in today's Nigeria. I asked a group of people a few weeks ago, can you name 5 moral leaders in Nigeria today? In the mold of Mahatma Gandhi, Nelson Mandela, Martin Luther King Jr., Mother Teresa. Right. They scratched their heads and couldn't name 3. Buhari was one of the 2 they named. We need moral leaders.
All right.
That's all.
We must hang it there. Unfortunately, if I go to you, we're out of time. I don't want to be out of job, but I must sincerely thank you, Osita Chidoka. He is one of the spokesperson of the PDP Presidential Campaign Council. Is indeed a very... Oh, you said something.
Well, before you leave... Sorry?
You said what?
I want to make it very clear that the election is not a election between a moral right and a businessman. The election is between a divisive government and a government that will reunify Nigeria.
All right, you have...
If it goes that way, I will say one more thing. One more thing. Justice. Divisive government. Let me say this. The only thing that has united Nigerians is corruption. This man has come to fight it. Now we're divided.
We need to go. Osita Chidoka, thank you so much. Reverend Yomi Kasali, founder of the Foundation of Truth Assembly and the Southwest coordinator of the Oshibajo Campaign Organization. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you.